Shire Corner Shed, delivered on the due date. Proposed location to be behind the garage. Top right hand corner is the highest point. The block sitting there at the moment is at the height I require, about 50mm above the grass line. I've levelled ground from there and lifted the downsides in all 5 corners. I'll now go indoors, do some scale drawings, work out the materials and get them in order. Don't know who will watch this, if anyone. If you do and you're young and innocent, scale drawings are relatively simple for something this size. They'll help you get your head around what you're trying to do and what materials you'll require. That's the dimensions. 2248. I'm adding 50mm. This isn't a scale. I'm adding 50mm all round, so it becomes 2348. Concrete blocks, I'm going to use a 440, 215, 440, 140, 100. So to do a scale drawing, you just convert everything into millimetres. 2348 becomes 235. 215 becomes 21.5. If you add a 10mm mortar joint on, the blocks become 450, 45, 14, 10. I've lettered the corners A, B, C, D, E, D to E. The block's going to be face on here. So minus 140. So then 45, 45, 45, 45. The grass line starts 125 from the top of the block, 260 this end, which takes it below the line of the block. I'm going to place 3 blocks at 100 on this side to compensate. If I take 140 off, I'm left with 2208, 4.9 blocks at 140 plus 3. E to A, I'm going to have a block face on here and here, 140, 140, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.6 blocks at 140. The grass line's fine here. There's the option of laying the blocks on this side if the ground's hard or anything. D to C, A to B are both the same length. D to C, grass line comes below, so I'm going with the same idea, 3 blocks at 100. Lying flat, 3 at 140, 3 at 100. Grass line's good here, 3 at 140. And C to B, the entrance, 3.54 at 140. So the material list ended up something like this: 20 blocks at 140, 6 at 100, 1 bag of cement, 2 bags of builder's sand, one bulk bag of hardcore. This was a rocky, stony hardcore. I also ordered some bags of washed red sand, or concrete sand as the driver referred to it, and it was very good as a concrete mix, nice and pliable for laying the blocks on. Wednesday, 16th of December 2020. Progress so far. Materials ordered Saturday AM, delivered Tuesday AM. Heavy rain overnight. Project's a project. Scrape the soil level, a layer of aggregate on top, rubbed it down with a sledgehammer, and allowed for 20mm of concrete. I marked the blocks either side of the entrance, placed blocks at each corner with dead reckoning, placed the floor on top for a double check. I'm now about ready to take the floor away and start laying the blocks. Storm Bella passed over. I set the blocks in concrete. Doesn't look too much, but none of it was easy. I'm not a builder or a bricklayer. I've just put together what I think should work. It's an upward piece of ground. I'm back filling the mortar joints using a glove and a trowel. Probably unprofessional, but whatever works. There you go. Water. 18th of January 2021, and under wraps since the 22nd of December. Weeks of hard frost, then snow, rain, windows of opportunity. Now, the fox has been for a stroll. More frost. More snow. Scared to open up with all that frost, but seems solid enough. I want to paint the blocks white just to blend with the garage. So I'm going to put a skim coat on. I researched this last year a bit. Put a skim coat on the wall the shed is stacked against. Do not use anything with grit in it. Plaster or sand is recommended. Pick this up by default. It's all that was left on the shelves, not even boulder sand. And it turned out to be perfect. Consistency. Flour. No grit whatsoever. The builder sand I've used didn't seem to be too bad either, but I'm out of that too. I've got some kiln dried sand from monoblock. Or maybe if I don't have enough of this, I'll mix some cement with that and get the job done. Blocks look pretty damp, don't really need any wetting. Don't use anything with grit in it, mix it up well. When I was researching it, I was taught of using a sponge to apply it. But when I was doing the mortar joints, I realised the glove was not bad. Also, good enough for this kind of area, and quick. So I will crack on, do this. Fill in the holes. I mean, you can always finish it, give it an even up with it. So. Actually, I think if you just let that dry, just let that dry, I'll just rub over it with the glove, and it will be acceptable. Back filling this morning. Had a bulk bag of hardcore delivered with the blocks. Compactor seems a bit over the top for this area, so I've been pounding and stomping as I go to achieve the desired effect. Took some advice. I've decided to put some visqueen underneath the top layer, prevent any rising damp. Instructions. Straightforward, adequate enough, but they pack quite a lot onto small pages. Means the details are small, numbers and letters go downhill from there. A magnifying glass helps, including a 6x disc. Page and plan numbers run from front to back quite literally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can always remove the staples if that's an issue. All the parts have an item number, hardware or fixings have a description with dimensions. Main panels PP25 show 3 drill icons, 3 screws as listed. The roof area, 11 screws, 40 nails. While I'm on, I will mention that the triangular panels are left and right handed. Left and right handed. The given sizes are 1290, 1290, 1293, 1293. 3mm seems an odd discrepancy. So I checked, the rear elevation measures 1270 or 1273 with a. That's the instructions, straightforward once you get your head round them. Before I couple the floor sections together, I will point out that the meeting edges are both the groove side of the tongue and groove. Be careful how you place them on the ground. I failed to notice. I was not too careful and I broke the edges. I broke the leading edge off at either end. Be aware. Going to couple up the floor sections. I've given the underside a coat of the garage paint. Not strictly necessary, but it's a now or never application. On the plans, the drill icons are shown in alternate panels. 4 number, which means 4 number screws. 6mm clearance holes required. 6mm clearance drill. Drill from the side you're going to screw up from. I have clamps, so I've used them to clamp the 2 halves together. I'm screwing the base to the blockwork. I have that option. So I'm going for it. If you're doing such a thing, use a raw plug without a flange. They never hammer through the hole. The morning of the build, out here in the wilderness. Corner post, fixed, 3 screws. I've pre-drilled all the panels, including top and bottom. Corner set. Window panel sits here, fixed through this side. I'm going to fit the mitered door posts in advance, give me a degree of accuracy with the sill. The door area, I put the sill section on the floor, centred it, marked the ends with a pencil, set the window panels in place and fix them down in this location. I will not screw the corners together till you've fixed this area. 2 truss blocks will be fitted, one here 44mm down from that edge, the other in the far corner 78mm down. 6 screws allocated in total, 2 for each truss block and 1 for through the top, I guess. The roof, laid out to drill the clearance holes. Roof sections going in. First roof section. The state of play today. The hut was pretty well plumbed up. I expected the roof to drop on no problems. I'm afraid it hasn't, it's very tight, everything's very rigid. I haven't done most of the panels. Eased off at the base. I hope that if I levered and pushed and pulled the corners, the shed would take its shape and the roof would drop into place. But it hasn't. I've pushed and pulled and tried to get the roof to come together. There are gaps everywhere. I've undone the panels to allow flexibility in the hut. Eased off the base. This panel wants to come in about 25mm and move to the left about 15. Yet it's rigid, won't move. So I've had another look. It looks like the gap for the roof section to sit off of the panels is very tight. It's as tight outside as it is inside. I'm going to take the roof panels off, measure the gaps, possibly put a wood saw through them, increase the gap by 5 or 6mm. A panel with the tongue and groove attached is about 48. The gap is 48. Pretty tight. These corners on the triangular panel are quite tight too. I'm going to cut the corners off. Took all the panels off, checked the gaps. 50% were about 55mm, the remainder were less than 50, very tight. I opened them all up to 55 and I've been able to get the roof on without too much trouble and clamp all the panels together. I've measured the roof. It measures 3,300 by 2,600. Felt cutting sizes are one at 2,100 and two at 3,700. I've allowed 50mm overlap top and bottom, and that will give felt laps of 150 approximately. Can be decreased as you like. First layer on, beware, it tears rather easily. One more section of felt to go on. Don't forget to nail your roof down. I presume these nails are for down through the top. I haven't gone down that route. I have some decking screws and I've opted to drive them in through here. Whatever works. I'm liking it already. The doors sitting inside are waiting to go on. They should form a diamond, and they also have a grooved side to be wary of. Put the doors on. To say they were tight would be an understatement. Packed it up to the best balance I could at the bottom. Squeezed the 1mm packer in and no more up the middle and screwed up the hinges. I will now open them and see how they operate. The window panels, and this is retrospective. If I was doing the window panels all over, I would just stand them up and use the triangular roof panels to hold them in position. If you're concerned about the bottom falling off the edge, you could lie a block or something against them. I would then couple up the overhead gable end panel. That will then give you a turnout size for the door opening. After that you can couple up the corners. I use clamps to hold them together. I didn't find it too problematic. I think the triangular roof panels would be a better routine. The given size for the entrance is 1390. My turnout size is 1394 plus 4mm. Even so, the doors bind a little top and bottom. Here at this little knuckle here, which I may leave as it holds the door closed. The bottom's binding from about here downwards, just a little bit. A little toe poke will close it, but I've noticed that in doing so I'm splitting the timbers. So I'm going to shave a couple of mil off this area and fill the grooves with a paintable silicone or putty. The window, straightforward enough. With the frame on the ground, press the hinge tight to the frame, fix these two screws. With the window placed in the opening, space it out, haul it tight back to the framework. Check from the outside, it can fool you. This screw hole clearly visible, also these two. And finally open the window and fix the two concealed screws. Window stay. I put a 3mm packer under it, it could be more. Fix the stay. The handle's a guide, it's parallel, more or less parallel with the window. Mark the pins as they're called and fix them. They're more or less on the edge of the curve and reasonably okay. Perfectly adequate for a shed. The beads are tight. You can flex them in, top and bottom. That makes the side beads even tighter. You'll struggle to flex them in. Also puts the miters slightly out of alignment. The easiest way I've found is just to put them in, have a look. Put them in a mitre block and cut a mil or 2mm off. Usually 2mm off the sides. Then fit them, number them before glazing. There's no room for putty glazing. If you want to seal the glass, I suggest a bead of silicone. Tempered glass, no bad thing. I've put it all the lettering to the bottom left. Finally a bead. Oh. I'll just let the silicone set and take off with a Stanley. Again, always nice to have the lettering in one corner. Auto flex doesn't go amiss, not too much. Arrow pins, not good for fat fingers. Bob's your uncle. More snow. Storm Darcy. The beast from the east. Last layer of felt on. Now it's fascia time. In the preamble, it mentions if you want watertight joints to apply silicone before coupling the panels. I didn't opt for that. Not exactly an exposed location, but there's still an opportunity to run silicone down the joint before you put the fascia on. And the fascia is up inside. Fascia's on. I have to say I really like the shed. It's robust, decent size, and not too obtrusive. I even enjoyed the build.